Here's Stephen Platinum Patreon video. Yeah, I'm knocking them out. I wanted to talk about July 4th because that's today. I was reminded of a couple of things. I won't bore you with too much because you can probably hear my laundry rumbling around in the dryer, and I still have a little house cleaning to do before I go get the kids. Excited about July 4th for sure. Two things that July 4th sort of brought up to me in my mind's eye, and here's my challenge as you look at different wrestling groups, particularly in Georgia and Florida, as things are getting slowly going again, right? July 4th, I've seen a lot of people posting memories about PCW and July 4th. Here's something that PCW did, which no other group is doing, which I challenge them to do. And if you ever seem like, oh, Steve, you talk a lot about PCW and you idealize it. Yeah, because I don't see anybody doing what we did. And here it is. July 4th was a date that we owned. We would be part of the parade in the town, and then we would do a double ring war games show traditionally outside, where hundreds, if not more than 1,000 people would show up and watch. And then the match would be done as it got dark, and then they would do the fireworks as we stood in our rings. Can you imagine such a thing now? What wrestling group owns a date? Now, there are certainly groups that do shows on a particular date each year. I'm thinking of the Best in the World, Show of the Year show that AEW does, for example. But do they really own the date? Do you know the date that show happens? I do, because I pay attention to this shit, but most people don't. So I would challenge a wrestling group out there to have a date that you own. Certainly, certain groups have flirted with doing a holiday show, like we'll do a Thanksgiving show or we'll do a Christmas Day show and blah, 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 but none of them could stick to it as we stuck to July 4th. The other thing, really, I only had one big show of the year, and that was Sacred Ground. And the only show that we named, right? Whereas everybody else indulges in naming every freaking show. We only had Sacred Ground. And when it got to be around Sacred Ground, we would usually do it in a Saturday in late September, but that did fluctuate. Sometimes it was in earlier September, sometimes it was beginning of October, whatever. The point was, we would do Sacred Ground, and then people would start calling the time after the July 4th show Sacred Ground season. And people would post, it's the most wonderful time of the year and stuff like that, and talk about the season of this build to Sacred Ground. When's the last time that's fucking happened in the state? Two things to think about. Who owns what date? And whose big show of the year, true big show of the year, actually has a season? The answer is none. The challenge is to get some. Have a great 4th of July, everyone.